Hey guys, welcome to day 8 of Breaking the Boredom series. Today we are going to be making something that I have been working on a lot since I was actually in college, like when I started 10 years ago. um, we are going to be doing something called Pop Tab Chainmail. So for this particular example, you will need a few things. One, you will need some wire cutters. This will be used to cut your pop tabs. Two, you will need preferably a stapler remover. Now, if you don't have these two items, I will be talking about substitutes. You can potentially use a hard surface like a desk or some really good scissors if you can, but these are definitely the preferable things to use. And then last but not least, of course, we need a bunch of pop tabs. So let's talk about how to make this and let's get started. All right, you guys, so the first thing you need are a bunch of different pop tabs, but we're only going to use a few for this demonstration to kind of understand what this demonstration looks like. You can also use different color pop tabs. So if you find any that were on energy drinks or different kinds of special brand Mountain Dews or whatever you have, that would be pretty cool to use as well. So the first thing that you are going to do is take your stapler remover. That's the best thing to do to start. And then you're going to take your pop tab. You're going to insert it about halfway in to the point where it will look, and I know it's a little hard to see, something like this. So you see that it's about halfway in, just the tiny part of the bottom part is sticking out. And then where it comes in is you actually take this and you bend it down. Now, if it doesn't bend down super well, you might want to move it around a little bit. But then your pop tab should look something like this, where it's a little bit bent. This will be necessary for the design that we do. So again, the way you would do the first step, take your pop tab, put it in your stapler remover, and then bend it down. Okay? They don't have to be perfect, but again, they should have a slight bend to them, and some of them will be more bendy than others. So you can definitely see the difference here. All right, now step 2 is with your bended pop tabs, take your wire cutter. So your wire cutter will cut the top. So not the part that actually was pulled off, not the part that was pulled off the can, so don't cut this part. You're going to cut this part right up here. And you're going to try to cut it in the middle. So take your pop tab, and then you're going to try to cut it right in the middle. It doesn't matter if it's not perfect, it will work, and then make sure, obviously, that it can separate. So in this case, there is some separation that's going on. And then again, your bent pop tab in the middle. And you see that it is cut. Now, if you don't have wire cutters or you don't have a stapler remover, there are other things that you can do. So if you take your pop tab and you put the side that is the top of the pop tab that we will eventually cut, face that towards you, and hold the other side down firmly, either with your finger or with a lot of your hand, and then you push down firmly on the side of the pop tab, you can bend it as well. Now, this method is obviously not ideal, and it's obviously not quite as good as the stapler remover. So if you have one, try to use that, but you can see that it created a bend and it still will work. Now, if you don't have the wire cutters, you can use something else like scissors. However, scissors are not necessarily meant to cut metal, so I will warn you that this can mess up your scissors. Make sure you ask your family members or anybody else who own the scissors before you try this. So again, you'll do the same thing. You'll take it, do it right in the middle, and then you'll cut it. Again, this doesn't necessarily work quite as well, and this doesn't work with all scissors. So again, if you're doing this, be really careful. So that worked well for me. As you can see, not nearly as clean of a cut, and it separated a lot more, but it did technically do the job. So you can mess around with your scissors if you have them, but please, 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 please be careful and know that a lot of scissors are not made for this. All right, guys, so what you are going to do first is make sure you have your pop tabs, make sure they are both bent and cut, and then we'll kind of go from there. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making a pattern that looks something like this. So you can kind of see they're all weaved together, and then there's like a really cool kind of design because of the bump right here. So you can make this as long or as short as you want. I will tell you that if it's shorter, the pieces, when you pick it up, do kind of tend to go together. So if it's longer, that doesn't tend to happen nearly as much. So if you do pick it up and it seems like your pattern is all messed up, don't worry. All you need to do is lay it back out straight. And I'll show you guys, if you do a lot of them, what that might look like in the end and some other things that you can do with this. But let's figure out how to do the weaving pattern. So first of all, take one of your pop tabs, and then with this pop tab, again, make sure the top is cut there. You are going to take one of your other pop tabs, and we are actually going to put it through this hole. So you are going to take it, put it behind the pop tab, okay? And then you are going to push it through so it looks like this. So you can kind of see they're started to become interconnected in that way. All right. So again, take your pop tab, and if you want to hold them up so that way you can kind of still see the pattern and that way you can hold them in place, that's great. You're going to take the pop tab again. You're going to take another one. And again, you are going to go through behind and snap in the pop tab. Now you have a little bit bigger of a design. Okay, we can kind of compare it to the one over here. So you can definitely see it's starting to get there. Then what you will need to do is you will need to continue on the pattern. And so what I would always do, especially when you're first getting started, is hold yours up together, because that way you'll see the pattern. That way you won't get discouraged, and it's really kind of harder to get all messed up and jumbled like if you hold up this one. So what you'll do next is this one. You'll bring this back part. Remember, the bottom always goes to the back. So the bottom goes to the back. And you'll slit this next one through. So you have a design that looks something like that. So you can see it's really starting to form together. Then what I might do next is take yet another one. Bottom, back. And then it creates a pattern. Now, once you get to this point, you will need to put multiple into each of the different pop tabs. So this is where it gets a little bit trickier, okay? So again, what I would do is I'd grab your design, hold it up, so that way you kind of have all the pieces in line, so it's easier for you to work with, or at least somewhat. And then what you are going to do is you are going to take another pop tab, and what you actually want to do is you want to connect it right here, like the middle pop tab. So a few things that always we do is if we want to do connect this pop tab and the new pop tab, bottom goes to back, okay? And then again, if we want to connect this pop tab to the new pop tab, we do bottom is in back. So when you lay down your design, and again, you might kind of have to ruffle it out a little bit, it looks a little bit like this. Now let's just practice with one more. So lift up your design, and again, if it gets all kind of messed up, that's okay. It will happen, but you can fix it. Okay, so now I'm on my other side. So I have my two pop tabs over here, and I want to take a new pop tab. Okay, so this first part, bottom, goes to the back. So I'm putting this part, this new pop tab, putting that in front there. Okay, and then with this part, again, bottom goes to the back. Now this cut wasn't very good, so I have to go all the way over to that other side, but that's okay. I'll make it work. And then we lay down our design. And there we go. Now we did have one of them disconnect. You can see it was supposed to be there because the cut was so far over. Now that's part of the reason you want to make sure the cut's right in the middle, because if not, it can fall off. But that is okay. What you can do is you can either use a different pop tab, or you can try to close this one as best as possible, and that should not happen. You guys, thank you so much for joining us today. This was one of my favorite crafts through college. So I have been working on pieces on and off since then. At first for my boyfriend, now husband. And one of the big pieces that I have been working on, and this does take a lot of time, is a full chainmail plate. So this would be worn as a shirt or something else like that. So I have this one, and I have another plate that I have worked on. Now, keep in mind, this takes a while. I would sit in front of the TV and cut these, and I would bend these and put them together. And I have to stop after a while because it really does start to hurt your hands. So if you have any kind of gloves that you could work with, it might be beneficial. But this was such a fun hobby for me because I loved the chainmail look, but I couldn't afford it. And so I started collecting pop tabs and creating these different chainmail designs. Now, if you don't want to create something this big, there's other things that you can create, such as the images on the screen. So thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you guys really enjoyed, and I hope it helped to break your boredom a little bit. Please stay inside, stay safe, stay healthy, and know that we're all in this together. Have a great day. Enjoy yourselves. Talk to me if you need anything. Bye.